We went into the game comparing the 08 United team to this Arsenal one. Well, this Arsenal team couldn't even beat current United. So I think that puts that question to bed.
Case dismissed.
In the game, Carrick United carried on from where they left off versus City. Very similar game plan and the same result. Just how did they do it? Well, drop a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and let's get into it.
Okay, let's go.
Early on in the game, Arsenal were pinning United back into sort of a back five shape at times, even looking sometimes even like a back six, as Ahmad and Dogu were pushed deeper and deeper into that defensive line, and United didn't really start the game on the front foot in this one. That being said, everyone was talking about how Arsenal were so dominant, especially in that first 30 minutes. Were they? When I rewatched the game, for all of that 30 minutes of so-called dominance, a lot of it was just basic possession for Arsenal. They were hardly banging on the door of United's goal. Arsenal's main chance came from a set piece in that opening period, and the goal itself was all rather preventable if Martinez focused on his defending rather than just dancing with timber. 7! It's no major knock on Martinez. I think overall he had a very good game. But it's always moments like that where I question whether his long-term future does lie in midfield, but it might just be a bit too late in his career to be making that switch. But this is what we saw for Arsenal's goal. United in a decent enough position. I didn't think Dogu could have done much more with the header that eventually came to Saka. But you can see Casemiro doubling up with Dogu to try and help with Saka. They do a decent enough job, but he does manage to get that pass through to Odegaard. But you can see Martinez here. Even before that ball even reaches Odegaard, Martinez is still looking, grabbing onto timber, and there's no real reason for it, really. And then you run it on, he's still got a hold of him, Odegaard gets that ball in, and then Martinez is just a little bit off balance and can't clear that ball. And it was with that then, obviously, Arsenal were rewarded with that goal for that first sort of 30 minutes. But in attack, Arsenal, largely, they kept moving their fullbacks into the half spaces, and I've seen many people question the effectiveness of this, getting obviously them in very dangerous positions, but do you want your fullbacks in there? The one thing I will say that it did at least lead to some confusion for United as to who picks them up, because you can see in these positions here, you've got Hincapie on the left, then you've got Timber on the right-hand side as well, and you're asking obviously United's wingers and fullbacks then, they need to be in constant communication as to who picks them up when they do go into the half spaces. But it was only really when Saka had the ball for Arsenal that you could really see any sort of effectiveness with their attack. And I've highlighted Timber here because he's gone into the half space again. So he's forcing obviously Luke Shaw to stay in that sort of area. So it means then that Dogu, the left winger, is going to be the one facing up the Saka. But we know obviously now that in these big games, that's why Dogu's been playing in there, because he's normally a fullback. So he should be pretty comfortable one-on-one up against the winger. But still, with Saka, how good he is, he can still skin anyone. He does skin Dogu in this instance, and he can get a cross on. I think Luke Shaw blocks this one. But that was Arsenal's main route, and pretty much only route from open play to goal, was to give it to Saka, try and get him one-on-one, and hope that he can create something. And that was pretty much it from them. Largely throughout the game, United kept that disciplined 4-4-2 shape, and we were largely comfortable defensively from open play in this one. And yet again, it's a huge credit to the job that Carrick and his coaching staff have done in such a short space of time, limiting both Man City and Arsenal massively from open play. They deserve huge credit. And then with the ball for United, it was clear that we weren't going to get the same amount of space in between the lines that we did versus City. And United got back into the game, obviously, just from a sheer bit of bad play from Arsenal. We were putting a little bit of pressure on them, but it was first the Saliba back pass into Zubamendi. He's off balance, and then terrible back pass to Raya, and then Buemo does that finishing job. You can see here in the opening period of the game where Fernandes is looking round, assessing his options, but he's looking, obviously, anticipating that ball coming in from Martinez. And it does, but he's got Saliba right on his back then, forces Fernandes, obviously with a double team of Odegaard. Fernandes is forced into a pretty rushed, really risky ball into midfield. Arsenal can win that ball back then, and they can get a very dangerous attack going. So these were the differences that we saw from the Man City to the Arsenal game. But still with Fernandes, you can never really keep him fully out of it. Another instance here with Martinez picking him out. Fernandes this time around has that little bit of space with that little bit of confusion between Saliba and Rice as to who's picking him up. Fernandes can play that lovely ball around the corner. So even though Arsenal did a much better job on Mbeumo and Fernandes in this game, we were still able to find those little pockets on time. So it wasn't as effective. But United, with the likes of Fernandes and Mbeumo, you've got obviously Casemiro, Maino rotating round as well. You've got Amad, Dogo on the wings. We've got a lot of good attacking players. So it's going to be hard to keep us out of the game for the full 90 minutes, as Arsenal found out in this one. And United really did settle into life after that equaliser, and we started to see more and more of the ball. And it was the good intentions that I saw from United that really obviously led to the Dogu goal. It was a fabulous strike, don't get me wrong. But it was these sort of intentions that I really liked from United to set up that goal. You can see Luke Shaw pushing up very high on that left-hand side. Him being in more of an orthodox full-back position, he's very used to making those overlapping runs from full-back. He drags Timber away slightly from Dogu, so that means then Martinez can find him in between the lines. Dogu obviously plays a lovely little 1-2 with Bruno Fernandes. I think there's a couple of 1-2s in this instance. And then Dogu can get that strike off. Absolutely thunderous strike. United on top again in this game then. And it was these intentions that I think were further highlighted by the introduction of Cunha. Because it was the 69th minute of the game where Cunha comes on for Mbeumo. We could have easily made a negative sub there and we sink further towards our own box. It was still 2-1 at that stage. And it was the same in the 81st minute. Dogu has to come off, a little bit of an injury. Seshko comes on instead. So it was still 2-1 in the 81st minute. We could have easily brought on Mazraoui in that instance there. But obviously, how many times under Amorim did we concede equalisers after making these sort of negative subs? We still conceded in this game. Stuff happens. Obviously, Arsenal bombarding the box as they do from corners. Very hard to stop them scoring sometimes. But the positive subs from Carrick just meant the United still had plenty of firepower on the pitch. And it was these subs that were heavily involved in that winner for United then. You can see in the build-up for the goal, Seshko, he's able to knock that ball down. It was just a big long ball from Lamens, but Seshko can bring it down. Now, Fernandes plays his part in it then, having him still in these more advanced positions. Plays the ball into Maino. Maino can nutmeg Rice, get Cunha then in this very dangerous position. And how many times this season have we seen Cunha shooting from these sort of positions? And he hasn't performed like he did last season in these sort of areas. But this time around, he does cash in. United get that winning goal. And it's no more than we probably really deserved in this game for me. Because I know we didn't create a lot of chances in this one. So maybe a draw would have been a fairer result. But from what I saw of Arsenal and their intentions, I mean, there wasn't a lot there to be spoken about how they really deserve to win this game. And United are going to get different tests now coming up in the next few weeks. We'll be expected obviously to have more of the ball in the next sort of 4 or 5 games, potentially breaking down some low blocks. But it's in these games obviously that we've struggled all season long. So again, it's up to Carrick and co. Can you show us now what you're all about? Can you game plan for a different sort of scenario? Sometimes in recent seasons for United it's been easy to sort of set up, play defensively and play on the counter-attack. But it's when we're expected to have more of the ball, definitely under Amorim, that's where we were struggling. But 2 wins from City and Arsenal, absolutely on cloud 9 at the minute. But long may it continue. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you in the next one.